as I mentioned, there's not only data in Oxygen or Dogbook and the frameworks that we have for data, Dogbook, and so on are available as part of our SDK. So you can see exactly how each of those extensions or that functionality was developed. Actually, the TI framework was initially developed for years in Oxygen, and then we put that on GitHub. I think it stays now, and there are a number of people from the TI community that contribute to that project. And whenever there's a new TI version, basically we do not do the update anymore. Or we just take the current version of TI and put that into Oxygen when we ship a new version. And Wendell tried to create a similar support for JATS, right?
Well, I think I think with the JATS kit, what we have is the beginnings of similar support, right? I mean, in the case of JATS, we're starting, well after TEI and DITA and DocBook have done a lot of their technical infrastructure. The JATS is, relatively speaking, in a much more. JATS has got further to go. On the other hand, what that means is that this framework in Oxygen is maybe a little bit more approachable than the frameworks that support larger, more complex tag sets. Basically, what we tried to do is cobble together things that had existed in various forms, including CSS style sheets, XSLT, so forth and so on, just to give us a starting point. Now, there's a lot more work that needs to be done. Some of the things need to be shaken out and improved. Some of the things break because the underlying tools evolve, and some of the standards are not yet fully mature. So we need to go back and shake things out a little bit. Radu is just going to give you a kind of a quick tour of some of the basic functions so you can see that they're there. But basically, my pitch today is that if you use JATS, to please get involved and consider not only using the JATS kit, but also pushing back to us. There is a GitHub repository under my account where we're centralizing the work, and of course you can put an issue on that GitHub or send email or make some kind of. Oh. You said middle, right?
Yeah, now it's
no. All right. Yeah, there's plenty of opportunities here to get involved and to improve things. Now, another thing with the
yeah. So this is the GitHub project
Sure.
that Wendell developed. It has 7 contributors, but
they're mostly
it's mostly
me at this point.
Wendell.
There's
Yeah.
a little Radu.
Yeah. A little me and some of the Oxygen team. Yeah. Some of the Oxygen team, and it's also distributed in Oxygen. But Wendell added some. At the end here, he added a wiki page, and he explains how you can install the latest JATS add-on.
Right. So if we do our job, theoretically, you should be able to get updates dynamically when we update. Now, things are not as settled today as I would like, so keep in mind your mileage may vary.
So when you want to create a new JATS document, Wendell added 3 new file templates. Can you tell us more about each of these?
So these are basically 2 of the big 3 formats in JATS, plus an additional one, which is bits, which is the JATS extension to describe book contents. The one that you do not see here is, of course, the so-called green DTD, the archiving DTD, which is the most open and permissive of the different JATS DTDs. And that's actually kind of by design. I mean, this framework, of course, these style sheets all work on green documents. Everything works just fine with green, but it's not bound to the green document type by default. You need to do a little extra work with the glue in order to get green to work here. Certainly, it's possible to add your own template, and I think one of the things that you should have picked up already this morning is that all of these frameworks are extremely customizable and wide open. So, adding your own template and to do exactly what you want is not a difficult thing to do here. I think with respect to the support for document types, we may need to do a little bit more work on how to help people sort of adapt this to their document type. Part of the reason for that is that already, since JATS, when did it start? Maybe 15 years ago, has probably had about 30 or 40 different iterations of various different flavors. And rather than put in 40 different schemas here, what we've done is we've put in the latest ones, the core ones, and then if you can do the wiring to configure it so that it can find your DTD with the catalog and so forth, you can use the rest of the JATS kit. It works just fine. So this is a blank template of I guess it's a blue document.
It's an authoring, I think.
Oh, okay. So this is a so-called, and so this is the tightest of the different JATS tag sets.
So CSS was developed by Wendell. The CSS used to visually render the document. What do we have? I think you created more than one CSS?
Yeah, well actually the labels CSS just is the same with labels on top, so you get element labels. And then in addition, the two, right, so you see how abstract is now, the labels popped up. And then the lower ones are sort of layers or add-ons. So for example, if you insert a section or a list, you might
section like sec.
Yeah, I think it's a sec.
Okay.
Put in a list and see. I mean, the real story with these added templates is basically, or I should say style sheets, is that they are demonstrations, right? You reach a point with the development work here where you reach sort of 60, 70%, 80%, and then you begin to get into an area where everybody's different. Kind of what we're doing with this is showing you where these things are, the hope being that you're going to then customize it and improve it for yourself. So for example, you can see here we've got the flag on the list type to help you insert the list item that you want, and that comes in with one of these layered over style sheets. I think we have more work to do on these, but partly the problem is a design problem, right? It's a problem of sort of how to design the features of the different style sheets so they work well together.
The toolbar, do you want to show us? So we have the paragraph level insertions. I don't know,
these are all straight up, pretty normal stuff.
Yeah. So actions, each one can be invoked to do its stuff. This is the equivalent of the code block in detail, so it's a code piece of content which doesn't need to be formatted, especially you can insert a figure with a title, and in the figure maybe insert an image, bold, italic, underline, monospace, image reference to an image. What else? Insert a list item, MathML equation. I don't have the MathML editor installed here. And what are these?
Although I did see that working last week.
Yeah. So
always amazing.
These are subscript and superscript, I think. Yeah.
Right.
Subscript and superscript.
Now, one of the nicer, I mean, as I said, it's sort of cobbled together. But if you look at if you try inserting an element and see
with content completion or with the toolbar.
Either. I'm actually trying to show the documentation.
Oh, okay.
So you see how here what we've got is these are pulled straight out of the tag library. So courtesy of Mulberry, very kindly allowed me to mine the tag library, the official tag library. So those are actually the same text as you'll get when you go online. And then if you link, so Rodney, jump to one of those tag library links. That will point you to the straight up. And you'll see that I did add archiving there. So that points to the tag library, which is a huge help for those of us using JATS.
At some point I saw that you were adding XML refactoring operations to it? Or
yeah, there are a couple of refactoring. I'm going to have to revisit those because I'm not sure they're very robust at this point. But we have, I think we have one that does ID normalization. See what comes down on the pull down of normalize IDs. So I wonder what will happen if we try that.
Preview.
Yeah, so you can see that it's adding IDs everywhere.
So you're adding IDs to all the
To a selection of elements.
or selection of elements, like we do generate IDs on
Right.
on the other frameworks. Yeah.
And so in a sense what you can see is this kind of a grab bag, because a lot of these things are not exactly the way you're going to want them. But the thing is there, and you dig into the documentation, and you can find the hooks, take it apart, create an extension framework, or just modify the framework in place, and you get it to do what you want. What else have we missed? Are there any questions or comments about this? Yes?
I may have missed it, but what is JATS in there?
So sorry about that. JATS stands for Journal Article Tag Suite, and it's a tag set that's developed originally at the National Library of Medicine for their large repositories of journal articles, medical research. So it's basically a tag set that's being used in journal and other publishing for full content, especially in STEM. And you know, it's a little bit simpler. I mean, you know, at the JATS conference last week, Jeff was teaching us about what was the schema mass index or something. The JATS schema mass index is a little lower than the TEI, for example. So it's a little, you know, the elements are a little bit more generic, and you know, it's not quite as complex, and there's many options that makes it a nice choice for publishers who don't need to get into the weeds. TEI is, of course, designed for those of us who are in the weeds. Yeah.
Are a lot of people using JATS for authoring as opposed to?
We don't, well, we wish we knew better, right? I mean, I'd like to say the answer would be yes, but I don't see a whole lot of evidence of that. Now, what we are seeing is that people in publishing are beginning to move their content editorial workflow back. So you're getting XML earlier, right? Now, an amazing amount of XML is still sent to be produced after the PDF has been, you know, laid down on paper. So this isn't as good as it should be, but we are seeing progress.
So the people who'd be using this sort of stuff would be mainly working for publishers and
You're,
somewhere.
our core users at this point is pretty much editorial people,
Okay.
right, who have some sort of level of technical stuff. But we're also hoping that, you know, that may change too. Is that true, Vince? Vince uses JATS.
Yeah, for us it's more like technical group with introduction.
Right. So we are talking about technical specialists still.
But we hope that with the web author, you know, things may change, because you can just push a link maybe to someone, have him write.
Yeah, and let me, you know, also
So maybe
emphasize.
so maybe the technical editor person could contact the author and say there could be some interaction.
Absolutely.
That-
Well, and stay tuned, because there's stuff to come later this afternoon on that front. But one of the things that is so great about Oxygen and about XML technologies in general is the synergy we get across those boundary lines. So the JATS people are not, you know, although we may think we feel like we're in silo because it takes up all of our time to talk about nothing else, the reality is that we actually have a tremendous amount to learn from the people who have solved TEI problems or DITR problems and so forth. So, and those solutions are often in the application on your desktop already, right? I mean, how many XLT processors do you have? Probably more than one. Yeah, we may not know, but Oxygen is filled with you know, fabulous functionalities that were developed for one thing, and now we're able to use them in JATS.
Yeah, so right here we can see in the web author the same JATS framework developed by Wendell, and Wendell didn't
Right,
do
so that's
anything
the
special.
CSS that we put together
Yeah.
15 years ago, and now you're looking at it in the web author.
Yeah, and he didn't do anything special. He didn't plan the framework to be used for the web app, you know.
Right.
So the same framework is used, and you can contribute and edit content in a web editing tool. With the, you know, put some effort into it and then use it in both the standalone and the web app.
Is JATS getting expanded to? I thought I saw like a book type.
Yes.
Is it getting expanded to books rather beyond articles?
So the people who develop JATS are here, and you know, if you talk to Tommy, Debbie, Jeff about JATS specifically strategy, what I can tell you is that it's an ISO standard. JATS itself is an ISO standard. It's also designed for extensibility, and at NLM they created such an extension for book content. So once again, this is similar to TI in some ways, but simpler. And similarly, there's an initiative at NISO to develop an extension of JATS for standards documentation. So people who are building or writing actual standards are going to be using that structured.
Versus, like, DocBook seems to have gotten extended to be used for all sorts of other things besides technical documents.
Well, that's right, and all of these are going to bleed into each other, and that's sort of a normal thing. I mean, that's why, as an XML person, I sort of try to, get people to be a little less religious about our tech set because, there is a lot of overlap. But on the other hand, we also have XSLT. So, Debbie, yeah.
And we borrow from each other. BITS needed a model for a structural index, so we went to DocBook and said, oh, the only thing wrong with DocBooks is it isn't recursive. So we've got the DocBook model, recursive. Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
Are we, any more questions? Because we are going to keep moving, right?
Yeah.
Have we missed anything important?
Well, yeah, if they want to contribute, or they can go to the GitHub project and maybe even add issues. So even without doing anything, just add an issue with the problem that you have.
Exactly. Squeaky wheels are much more likely to get us attention. Great. Well, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Wendell.
you.